Thank you everybody for watching this video. Push the like button, leave a comment, subscribe, and push that notification bell. It will help us tremendously to grow this channel. We have a bunch of stuff coming out for you, the fans, unique content, so please stay tuned.
All right, JHK here for the AllStar, and joining me right now is Bellator lightweight contender, Soren Bak. Soren, thank you so much, man, for the time. And I heard from someone that you were supposed to be on the last Bellator card of December, but you never made it out there. What exactly happened with that situation?
So it's really not that complicated. Like many other European fighters, we have quite a backlog in the US embassies over here. So my work visa for the US got expired in the beginning of November. So leading up to that, we were beginning the process of having it renewed and being able to fight afterwards. So when I went to schedule a time, the first available time was in 2022.
Wow.
Therefore, sadly, we were unable to be here.
I've talked to a couple of fighters that are in Europe who fight out of Europe, and they told me that they had to go to another country, the neighboring country's embassy, to get their visa. Was that something that you looked for or you looked into?
No, to be perfectly honest, I called up the embassy when I saw that there was no available time this year and asked for alternatives. What could I do? And basically what they said was I could look at the scheduling time at another time, and maybe something would be available. They didn't advocate for that option. I didn't learn about it until I had my visa photos taken the other day, and the guy at the counter, he was like, "Yeah, we know there's a lot of waiting time," and he had people going to Helsinki in Finland and people going to Frankfurt in Germany to have their visa done. I didn't know it was a opportunity.
Wow. And it's something that's so simple, but yet it makes, I guess, the world, what the condition that it's in right now makes it difficult. So simple but frustrating. Like, what is the level for you of frustration?
It is pretty frustrating. I mean, and earlier we kind of went to Bellator being in good time, and we have to get it renewed. So I remember the last time when I had to get my first visa, it also took quite a time to have everything figured out. So like, why can't we just start the process early? But I mean, it is what it is, and just extra time to train. So yeah.
Yeah. Let's get into that a little bit. You made your Bellator debut at the end of 2019. And then you missed all of 2020, understandable. How was your life during that time? Any obstacles in your life besides, the restrictions that were going on because of COVID?
So, I mean, coming off my first Bellator debut against Terry Brazier, I actually had quite a severe knee injury coming into the fight. And decided stupidly to take the fight anyway, but that's history now. And I got a good respite actually during 2020, where I could rehabilitate my knee properly and get back to proper training. Actually, restrictions wise, it never really became a major issue because as a professional you could still go to training. So yeah, we had a good session.
Take us through the process of the knee injury. You said you had it when you were entering your debut. So during the fight, did it get worse or did it stay the same?
It pretty much stayed the same. And I wouldn't have gone into the fight if it wasn't pretty sure that it wouldn't get worse because of it. Like, probably the right thing would have been to just rest the knee and postpone the bout, but also seeing what came early 2020, with the COVID pandemic situation, I didn't reschedule.
You missed out on 2020 just like everybody else did, but you said you rehabbed the knee. How did that go? Was it something that went smooth, or did you have some some setbacks?
No, it went smoothly. Actually, the pandemic provided the perfect opportunity to really rest before beginning the rehabilitation. And looking back, if the pandemic hadn't been there, I probably would have been back training too soon and could have injured myself even worse. So had the time to probably rest, probably rehabilitate the knee, and I'm back at full strength now.
Yeah, and you came back and you performed well against Bobby Lee. And I was surprised that you weren't on the London card recently. Were you set to fight somebody for that one?
Uh, no, um, thinking back, I think we asked if we could be on the Dublin card, uh, but no. The first time I've really been scheduled was for the December card here. Yeah.
Missed opportunity for Bellator, right? To put you on the Dublin card or the London card. It's like why didn't they not set you up? You know what I mean? You're in Europe.
Yeah, I think they're looking at what they've done with other Danish fighters like Mads Bonnell, having them compete a lot in the US makes sense financially and also like to promote us and getting us out there to a bigger market, I think.
Has that ever crossed your mind? Is just relocating for the time being to the US?
No, not really. I've taken like a different path than most fighters. Actually, setting myself up here in Denmark with work I can do when I'm not training. It could be an opportunity sometime, but like as I see it, I get a lot of other benefits from being placed here in Denmark and having somewhere to be when I'm not training.
What is your other job?
So I work at a pension scheme company called the Danica Pension, the second largest in Denmark. Basically, when I'm not training, I'm sitting at a desk and using my head.
That's good. That's good. You know, work the brain. And are there any other fighters that work for the company?
No.
No.
But they've been really supportive. Actually, looking back at it, when I took this decision way early in my career, when I was like, okay, maybe we'll be able to live off of this someday. But meanwhile, I could do studying when I was not training. So I took my degree in finance, and when I went to work for Danica Pension, at the end of the interview, they were like, anything else you think we haven't discussed? I'm like, well, I did put in that I'm a professional MMA fighter in my spare time. So maybe we should talk about that. And we had a really good talk. And they were like, well, if we can do anything to help, let us know. And he just gave me my hand and said, there's a place for you here at the company if you like it.
Wow, that's great to hear. You know, what I mean, sometimes people don't accept MMA as
Yeah.
you know something like a reasonable sport in their eyes.
Yeah, but translating to when I have fights now, I just go and talk to my boss, and we're like, I go to some part-time situation, so I can be at practice in the morning and practice in the evenings without like getting behind on work. So we really find the perfect flexibility.
You fought twice for Bellator. You're 2-0. You probably could have had at least 4 fights, 5 fights if you were fighting regularly. So it gives you a lot of time outside of camp to develop, to grow. How much growth have you done in the last couple of years?
Growing every day. So exactly that's kind of the point. That I know that we could have been as active as 5 or maybe 6 fights if pandemic hadn't struck either. But I also like to take the time in between fights to reflect upon my performance and which holes did we get put into and how do we get out of them. So every day is a new day and a perfect opportunity to be a better fighter.
Did you add anything different throughout the last couple of years, like to your training regimen, or you know maybe like to your schedule throughout the week?
Yeah, so we continuously develop our training regimen and also obviously we focus on different aspects of the MMA all throughout that regiment. So in periods we've done way more stand up. In periods we've done way more groundwork, and really we mix it up as we have opportunities to grow.
Where do you feel like you've just grown the most in your arsenal?
I think it's my stand up game. Being quite accomplished as a grappler for most of my career, like we use a good amount of time studying our opponents and seeing how we can develop the game plan that provides the highest possibility to win the fight. And all throughout has been mostly just we'll take them down and ground and pound them until they give a submission. And I've never at that point have never been weakened, so to speak. But as we focus more on the stand-up game and build that arsenal up, we can be dangerous everywhere.
When I look at you, I look at a fighter that's right on the edge of the top 10. What do you think about the top 10 right now, the division, the lightweight division?
It's stacked, but like the lightweight is such a big division in almost anywhere in the world. So it's going to be stacked everywhere. Looking at it right now, I think there's a few good matchups for me, and I'm sure with my next victory, I'm gonna be right there with them. And going on that, almost like a dream when I started MMA would be to face Benson Henderson. He's kind of back in high school, sitting at the back of the class a few times, watching WEC and seeing him there. That's pretty much where my love for the sport started.
Yeah, Benson Henderson, he's a fighter that is not honored enough for his accomplishments, I think. You know, I mean, his style that he had, and he's the one, kind of one of the first to do the calf kicks. You know what I mean? Like, there wasn't many who were doing the calf kicks back then.
And it's such an underrated technique. We just recently started really stepping it up in our gym as well. And like, don't get caught too many times and you're going to be on your back.
Yeah, for sure. So when do you plan on coming back?
As soon as possible. And being with the visa schedule situation, it's going to be in the beginning of 2022. Like we're set for, I would guess February.
You'd want to come back and face one of the guys in the top 10, like around the 8, 7, maybe 9 range, 10. You know who's sitting there? A good name, Miles Jury. What do you think about that matchup?
I saw his last fight live, and I could picture myself on his back for sure. No, but I don't know if they're gonna if I'm gonna be if Bellator wants me against one of the top 10 guys, being as I'm just outside of the ranks. Maybe there's another guy right on the cusp of being ranked as well. Maybe that's where I have to put my energy for this fight, and then we can pick our place in the top 10.
There's another guy. He's only 3-0 in Bellator, and you're 2-0 in Bellator, but he's only 3-0. Usman, there got Medov, and he's ranked number 3. Yeah. Did that shock you a little bit? Like how he's ranked number 3, but he didn't fight anybody that's ranked?
It did. Actually, he was facing an old teammate of mine last time. Who's been with me at many of my Cage Warriors fights. So, I mean, he looked impressive, no doubt about that, and really he got the name. So,
yeah,
gotta watch out for the the Magomedovs, right?
Yeah, I guess the name could take you really far, right?
At least it gives some kind of recognition to the fans. So yeah, it shocked me, and let's see if he can live up to it.
Yeah, and I think a lot of fighters are looking at that name, and they want to take that name.
Yeah, for sure. And it also it is kind of intimidating. Not to lie, like when we way back when we did our takedown regimens in our old gym, we would call it the Nurmagomedov. So I mean, there's something to it. But he's not the eagle.
Exactly. Well, there you go. He's not the eagle. And you know, the Gracies had their little run, right, of their name kind of intimidating people, and then eventually it faded away. it happens to everybody, right? So everybody's just gonna go out there and prove it against the
Exactly.
best of the family. Um, Another topic, a former opponent. I want to discuss a former opponent with you, Paddy Pimblett, right? He is someone that you defeated in the Cage Warriors, for the title a few years back.
Yeah.
What do you think of his whole personality?
uh, Actually, I like the kid. He's funny, but also he's a little bit much for me. Also, following along his social media rise to power these days, going from what I mean, he was already impressive before going to the UFC and in the social media department, but I believe he gained like 200,000 followers when he had his debut in the UFC, and then he got banned. I mean, I'm not enough on social media to really know the true story of all what he's doing there, but seen sometimes he's calling people out and getting people to harass people. I'm not for all that. Uh, but I mean, I met him and we fought it out for 5 rounds, and you gain some respect for one another in such an exchange. And had a talk with him afterwards, and he seemed like a real good kid. Yeah.
Yeah, he seems like a solid competitor, and at the same time, he's cultivated this image throughout the years, and now he has to live up to it, right? So I guess he's got to continue with the social media and everything. We'll see where it takes him. I mean, what do you think of his skill set, though? Do you feel like, you probably watched his UFC debut. He got dropped in that. He was almost finished, and he came back and won. Do you feel like he's evolved a lot since your fight with him?
I think like I believe he's grown mentally since since my fight with him. I'm not as sure as how much he's actually grown as a fighter. We'll have to see. But yeah, I was scared for him a few times in that fight. Good thing for also for me. I look better as he performs in the cage, and I'm always rooting for the guy. And good to see him coming with his knockout. He needed that after the first part of that fight.
Yeah. Of course, if you beat the guy, you want him to succeed. Then it makes your resume look extremely impressive. Man, going back to that fight that you guys had, that first round where you had the rear naked choking. I've never really seen anybody come out of something so deep. It was really impressive how you fought through it, because over the weekend we saw Amanda Nunes. She barely had a choke in and she tapped. Did you catch that fight?
No, but I did read about it.
Yeah, it was
like
weird.
Whenever I see people tap out to chokes that fast, and we've seen it before also, in many instances, I'm like, you gotta find out the reason why you're in there, and in those moments you have to really look inward and see, do I want to be here? I mean, what am I fighting for? For me, I remember that moment of initial panic when goddamn, he's on me, and okay, the choke is in now, all right, we'll have to. I didn't bring my mother and my whole family over here to Liverpool just to get beaten by this kid. Just moved to the side, got an inch of air, and then just methodically going to work. And I think mentally I had him beaten after I got out in the first round.
Yeah, that was a incredible move, man, and hopefully we see many more of those. Going back to the lightweight division, Patricky Pitbull is the new champion now. How long do you feel like he will stay champion? Do you think he'll be the champion by the end of 2022?
Could be, but I doubt it. I think there's a lot of good competitors in the lightweight division, and at that level, like I don't see him as much above as it would seem. I think he has a few hard fights ahead of him, and I'm coming for the belt. So
you said you're gonna be back at the early 2022. does Bellator have any events like set for Europe? And have you heard anything from them?
So we're waiting on the official visa to come back before we can schedule the exact time and place. I did just see on the website that they're like having a countdown to the first events of 2022. So I think they're working hard behind the scenes right now.
Good luck on getting your visa without any hiccups, without any problems, and then getting booked to fight. And hopefully when you do get booked, I'll reach out again and we can speak again before your fight, break down the fighter, all of that good stuff.
Appreciate it, Dave.